Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let me know how the sound is. Let me know how the video is. The quality's good. Let me know. Clear? Cool. Just want to make sure. I got to get some curtains in here because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the last several videos I made, like the sun shines in and sometimes it's real shady and then it's sunny again. It's just weird. So I got to get some curtains, figure out something in this room. Yeah, I want to make sure the sound is good too because my neighbor's like cutting his grass and he's using his weed whacker. Okay, everything's good. Cool. Appreciate you guys watching me today. I know I've been a little bit MIA. So last week I was actually in Minneapolis during the Trump rally. I wasn't there for the rally. That would have been nice to go, but I had a family emergency I had to take care of. And I was just keeping up with the updates just through Twitter. And I saw some of the protests and stuff. It was pretty crazy. I wasn't surprised. I can't say that I was surprised about the way that the left came out and showed how loving and tolerant they are. It's so great because the thing about Minneapolis is, and I know I have a lot of people who watch me from Minneapolis, a lot of good friends, a lot of liberal friends, but there's a lot of people out there that are just really fake. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, as I was driving through the city, I saw so many Black Lives Matter signs in people's front yards. I saw several signs that said, all are welcome here. And it made me wonder, like, what if I showed up with this hat on? Would I be welcome? Is it all that are welcome who agree with us? That's pretty much how they roll. But anyway, that's where I was at last week. Yeah, guys. So that's why I've been MIA. But as I was absent, I noticed there were a lot of stories I could have chimed in on. I missed out on a lot of opportunities there, but there's no shortage of them. Let me give you guys some shout outs here. Joey's in there. What's up, Joey? Cindy, Gus, Belittle. I don't know if that's Fing book or if you're saying effing book, whatever. Joseph, Mona, Tony. Yeah, guys. So I titled this, Let's Talk About It, because there's so much to cover that I figured I didn't want to just make the title too specific and narrow. It's also a strategic move to see if YouTube will actually monetize this all the way through. Usually what they do is they'll demonetize it because of the title or because I say something that's not appropriate, and then I have to go back and fight through it. So anyway, I guess I'll start with the Project Veritas thing. I think that was not really surprising. Like, I don't know anybody that could say they're surprised about the findings of that CNN whistleblower. I mean, all it really did was confirm our suspicions, right? And we got to see, like, we got to hear exactly what Jeff Zucker thinks and how much of a dictator he is, how he really does rule that network with an iron fist. But nobody's really surprised by it, are they? It's really crazy, but it makes you wonder between that and ABC's fake news, blatant fake news, with the footage from a Kentucky gun show that they used to try to tug at the heartstrings of everyone about us pulling out of Syria. It's just crazy because the press has so much power. How is the press more powerful than the government? They're the ones that are actually communicating with us. It's not politicians. All they do is kind of filter those messages out and then give you their take. But they have so much power. And it's like, who granted the power to the press? See, I like asking those questions. I like really digging deep. Who granted the power to the press? Because the public has a lot of trust in the press. They benefit from character inflation, right? You look at some of these journalists that have been on TV for a long time, whether you're talking Lester Holt or Tom Brokaw, whoever it is, you kind of look at them as like respectable, journalists, people you can trust, people that are going to deliver factual, unbiased information. But now we know that that's not true. Their only objectives are to shape public opinion and generate profit. And they've been doing that for so long. And it makes you wonder, before the time of cell phones and citizen journalism, how much were we lied to about? It makes you really question reality, because reality is shaped by what we have seen on TV. But nowadays, you can blow up narratives, you can debunk it. Like, you weren't able to do this before, where you could cross-reference and say, actually, that footage you showed of Syria is actually from a Kentucky gun show. But it's kind of crazy. And then with the press, they seem to be suspiciously unified. And it makes you wonder, okay, how can they all have the same opinion? It's just, hopefully more people see it. I think more and more people see it every day, but there's still so many people that are brainwashed. It's just unbelievable. But I do think that CNN is nearing the end. Their ratings sucked before this Project Veritas thing. You have to wonder, how much more will they tank? They're only really popular because they're in airports and hospitals and hotels. So we're kind of forced to watch CNN. But I just thought that was a little bit not really surprising, the Project Veritas thing. But I think it's good because it's something we can show people. What else do I have? I have some things written down here. Let's see. Let's talk about how, let me think about this. Let me look at some of these comments first, see what you guys said about that. Thank you for the super chat, B Little. God bless from Tennessee. Great work. Appreciate all you guys that support me. Now let's talk about Trump. Okay. I feel like people have forgotten why Trump got elected. Trump didn't win the election because he ran as a Republican. Trump won the election because he ran as a populist. His message had populist appeal. He happened to run as a Republican. That was his easiest path to victory. He didn't have to worry about super delegates and all that stuff. Trump ran as a Republican, but he's kind of a Republican in name only. Yeah, he's conservative, but he also has liberal values. His message just garnered support from people regardless of their political affiliation. And so why I feel like people forget why Trump won is because they look at it as conservatives versus liberals, Democrats versus Republicans. It's like, no, it's people who support this president who have grown tired of the political establishment of Democrats and Republicans. Remember, 9 million people who voted for Obama also voted for Trump. So people forget about that when they look and try to draw the line in the sand, like, well, liberals are thinking this. So if you disagree with whatever it is that is traditionally Republican, that must mean you're a leftist. We all know what that video was I made last week about Turning Point, and I got some flack. I knew I was going to get flack for that video, but a lot of people called me a liberal, a snowflake, you're a leftist. How dare you come out of your mouth and talk about Turning Point? I'm just like, what? Are we a monolith now? Did you forget that there are plenty of people who disagree but still support the president? So why am I not allowed to say X, Y, and Z? And oh, by the way, when we talk about Republicans and how Republicans are who we're voting for, who we support, yeah, I'm registered as a Republican. I'll vote Republican, but you never hear me say I am a Republican. I don't identify as a Republican. I identify as an individual with principles and values, and I will support anybody, politician, that aligns with those values. Take, for example, our governor in Florida. Ron DeSantis is doing a kick-ass job, not getting much notoriety for it. People down here know what's going on. He's doing a lot of things based on his principles and values that are not traditionally Republican. Some of it's conservative, but some of it's liberal. Some of it's based on what he thinks is best. Even though I might disagree with him on some things, at least I can respect the fact that He's governing based on principles, not based on traditional party standards. So ask yourselves, why are Republicans so unified with Democrats as it relates to Syria? Because they stand for the traditional status quo, which is why Trump won, because people are tired of the status quo. So when people say like, oh, you can't agree with the left, or why do you agree on this and disagree on that? It's like, because I don't see the party lines anymore. In my opinion, the two-party system is played out. It's outdated. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's pretty much two sides of the same coin. They both parties have sold this country out. Both parties, members of both parties, hate the president. And so to me, that tells me that that's the right man for the job. If career politicians hate the president and don't like his decisions and they criticize everything he does, then that's a good thing. That means we have someone in there that's not business as usual. That's someone that's not kicking the can down the road, especially on foreign policy. Like, we see all this press out there about, oh, why it's a bad idea to pull out of Syria. Trump is betraying the Kurds and all this nonsense. Okay, what does the average American citizen think? The average person doesn't want war. They don't want troops in the Middle East. We've been over there for how long? It's time, right? It's just, but you have conservatives, Republicans, the party line. A lot of Republicans, 129 to be exact, are standing with the Democrats, who used to be anti-war. Both sides want war, both sides, because they oppose the president. So I say that to just remind people that I stand for principles, values, America first values, and anybody that agrees with that, I guess we're cool. But if you disagree, that's fine. I'm not going to try to write you off, but keep in mind why you might be against it. Is it because, oh, well, I stand with the Republicans on this and Republican that? You know who understands the two-party system is flawed? Our president. He's called out both sides. Does he not call out rhino Republicans? Rhino Republicans who stand up and make their voices heard only to condemn the president. Mitt Romney only makes his voice heard when he's condemning Trump, but he's silent on the First Amendment, silent on the Second Amendment, silent on immigration, completely silent, radio silent on what conservatives really care about, as the left just runs amok through all of our institutions, destroying everything, trying to change and reshape everything in the country. Where are the Republicans at on this? Where have they been historically? That's what I'm saying. I get tired of a lot of people who come at me and others too and try to make it seem like, well, you're not really conservative. Like, you're not part of the tribe. Why are you betraying the tribe? We need to stick together. Who would stick together on what? If I disagree with it, if it goes against my principles and values, I'm not going to just overlook it because they're Republican or they're conservative. Because like I said, a lot of conservatives are against conservative values. They're against what Trump is standing for right now, which is America first, regardless of party. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy. Like, so many people were coming at me sideways in the comments. And I know most of you who have followed me from the beginning, you guys know this. I've said it time and time again, what I stand for, what I believe in. And I mean, it is what it is. And as it relates to that video last week, you guys know this, those of you who have followed me from the beginning. I'm not someone that's going to hold a grudge. I said what I had to say, and I'm moving on, period. I'm not going to continue dwelling on it. But at the same time, I wasn't going to keep quiet about a situation when it's something that's valid, right? Did I not owe my subscribers and my followers and my supporters an explanation of why they didn't see pictures, especially when people donated to me? People helped fund that trip to DC. It'd be really weird if all of a sudden I went back to making videos as normal. when I went silent for a whole day. And I challenged him by telling me, what did I get wrong in my assessment of the situation? You know, so will I follow up on what happened with the White House? Yeah, I'll follow up on that, but it's not going to be following up with Turning Point. A lot of people are like, don't write them off. Let the figure out, dig deep and see what happened. And maybe it'll work out. I'm like, it's fine. I prefer to be solo anyway. I don't need to align my personal brand with any organization to be effective. You guys know that. I was doing fine before Turning Point. I'll do fine afterwards. I mean, I would say that my top favorite conservatives don't speak of Turning Point, have never been to one of those events. So I don't really see it as something that's like, oh, Mike, you got to join that. You got to be a part of that. It's like, no, it goes against my values. And it's just not really a good fit. It's more corporate, clean cut, straight edge conservative. They're looking for people who are made for Fox News, people who could go on Fox News, wear a suit. That's not me. That's not who I am. So I'll keep doing what I do. It's all good. I said what I have to say. Be Little, thank you again for Super Chat. I commend you for standing up. I got your back. I appreciate that. The majority of the people who left comments said, Mike, we support you. We stand with you. That was shady. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Am I making it all up? I mean, apparently David Harris Jr. reached out to me, and he, because I guess he saw the video. He basically thinks I'm doing it for attention and it's all negative. Basically, I'm not allowed to say anything bad about Turning Point. I can only say good things about him. And apparently there's nothing bad to say about him. I'm just making it up. I just wanted attention. None of it's true. Blah, blah, blah. That's fine. What else do I have here? I just had to cover that, guys, because that was the last video that I made. So anyway, yeah. Elijah Cummings. Yeah. Rest in peace to Elijah Cummings. Thoughts and prayers are with his family. That's really all I have to say about it. I'm not going to go any further into it because we know what his voting record is. We know what he's done with Baltimore. I mean, he was railing against Trump, start to finish. I mean, he wasn't a good guy. He just wasn't. Did he do some good things? I'm sure. I don't think he's the worst politician in the world, but it doesn't even matter anymore because politics aside, that was a human being. He's gone. He's no longer here. People who love him are hurting. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm not going to sit there and say good riddance and all that, because that would not make me a man of God if I was happy that someone else is dead and that their family's hurting just because I don't like what he did with his city and if he was corrupt or whatever. I mean, it's out of my hands. Who am I to judge? A lot of people like to pass judgment so that they can feel better about themselves. They want to pass judgment and condemn and say all these horrible things about him. I've seen some comments I posted on Facebook and some people were saying some stuff on there that I didn't really agree with. I'm like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but I personally am not going to speak negatively about somebody who's not here to defend himself. I said the same thing last year after John McCain died. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like him. He was a crooked rhino and he voted against Trump. He did some things that hurt the country. And he seemed really spiteful in his old age, but he's no longer here. He had grandkids that are hurting and, it is what it is. But I mean, that's obviously the big story of the day. Elijah Cummings dead. And I actually didn't even know that guy was sick. I didn't know he was in hospice care. I didn't even know. The Only Cartel, is that your name? Said I unsubscribed from Turning Point. Oh, let me give a shout out to these super chats. Thank you, Lady Q. I appreciate it. Lori, thank you for the super chat, supporting you every time I see you live. I thank you guys so much because here's the thing, guys. And I kind of alluded to this when I was in DC and I did that live stream. I wanted it to be a more formal announcement, but some told me just say it. So I do this full time now. Full time. This is my job. You guys will not be seeing me make videos in a van anymore. All that time I was doing videos in a van is because I had some overlap. but my goal was always to do this full time. This was always my goal, to try to become a full-time YouTuber. Not just because I wanted to make money and not have to clock in and go work for someone else and, have my own schedule. That's definitely a big part of it. But because I feel like it's a full-time job telling the truth when we're in a sea of lies. There's lies on TV right now as we speak. People are being told lies. People are believing those lies. We got lots of evil and corruption in our society, and there are not enough people speaking about it. There's a lot of people who get pulled into the vortex, the left-right stuff, just pretty much responding to the stimulus that the media puts out there. And they've got their little robotic talking points to own the libs. But there's not enough people out there actually concerned with the truth and actually trying to fight against the evil and the sinister in our society, the sinister from all of our establishments, whether you're talking media, politics, academia, entertainment. These are all establishments that are pumping out the same propagandist message that is destroying, or at least trying to destroy. It's a warfare, spiritual warfare, trying to destroy freedom, our God-given rights. So to me, that's worth stepping out on faith, not knowing how this is going to truly play out. I don't really know, right? YouTube could demonetize this channel tomorrow, knock on wood. Not knowing when donations will come, when super chats will come. I've got my Patreon that I'm going to work on getting more exclusive content there. But this is truly what it's about, stepping out on faith for something that you believe in. You think about a lot of people in the world, we've all been programmed to make fear-based decisions. We're always worried about what could happen. And because that's been programmed in us, we're basically planning for future anxiety. We're planning for things to happen that we don't want to happen. Instead of focusing on what we want to happen, plenty of people just play it safe. And because they do that, because they make fear-based decisions, they're less happy. So for me, it's just really about taking a calculated risk, knowing that I have plenty of things to fall back on, college degree, I could go get a job anywhere else, but I enjoy what I'm doing and I choose to do this full time. I mean, if Trump does not get reelected, if the Democrats take control of the Senate and the White House, it's going to be, this country is basically going to be over unless they're just bluffing hardcore. But my gut tells me they're not. They're serious. The farthest left represents the party. And there are not enough people out there speaking about it. I mean, damn. So it just feels good about, doing this full time. Joey said, I like the van. If you see me making videos in a van again, I wouldn't say you need to worry, but you should definitely ask, like, what happened? What happened? So my goal is to do this full time. I'm doing this full time. And, I've had some bumps in the road since I started doing this full time. So it's kind of prevented me from making videos like every single day, but I will get in the rhythm of doing that. Have you ever thought of doing call-ins? Yes, I have thought about doing call-ins. I will do call-ins, but there's a lot I have to learn, a lot of things I got to figure out. If I can, I talked to Anthony Brian Logan about how he does his live streams and stuff and has call-ins. There's a lot that I don't know. I'm not that tech savvy, but once I figure it out, it's going to be great. Thank you, Lori. Hope the left don't get it their way. I hope not either. I really hope not. Yeah, ABL is the man. Man, ABL, an Uber guy, Christopher Wright, the conservative in New York, Justin Wilson. I met Chandler Trump. These are people that I met in person, shook their hands. These are all cool, genuine, down-to-earth people that I have a lot of respect and admiration for. So when I made that video last week, I was not referring to any of them. I wasn't referring to the Black Leadership Summit. I wasn't referring to any of the speakers. I was not referring to Candace Owens. I was talking about that organization. That was it. Mike, it's been a great year for you, a new house, although right before Dorian, and now this new adventure. So happy for you. Thank you so much. You know, it's really, I just put my faith in God. I just know that God doesn't make mistakes. God would never give me something I can't handle. And I'm somebody that will move on from a situation, not dwell, and focus on what is important. Focus on what I do have and not what I don't have. But there's a lot of people to do that. So there's a lot of like lessons that I can teach people, because a lot of people stuck in their jobs, a lot of people afraid, making decisions based on fear and not on faith. Let me be living proof that it does work. You have to have faith, though. You got to put God first. You don't even have to be super religious. You know what I'm saying? Just have faith in something greater than yourselves, which brings me to the next point of why I feel so strongly about doing this full time, not just for the financial benefits of it, but because for years and years and years, our academia establishment has systematically removed God from public life, from school. They don't even want kids saying one nation under God. So they just remove the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And when you do that, then people become nihilistic. When you introduce that humanist secular worldview, people stop caring. There's no moral restraint. I'm not going to say correlation equals causation, but once God was removed from schools, you started to see school shootings go up. I mean, I'm just saying, it's the truth. For as long as we've had guns in this country, school shootings didn't really become like a widespread thing where they're happening every year. Every year there's some kind of school shooting, and really mass shooting, not just school shooting. It's because society has grown more secular. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in the separation of church and state. And for the longest time, progress wasn't happening because the old school evangelical Republicans were against progress. They were too conservative, right? So you kind of needed a little bit more of a liberal stance to kind of break some of that up. But we became a lot more secular to the point where Christianity is just outright demonized and violence is up. I believe our country is a lot more violent now than it was when I was a kid. I don't have kids right now, but if I did, I would be very nervous about them trick-or-treating for several reasons, right? Because society's crazier now. There's a lot more crazy happening in the world. And so Joey said Mike first, and I also watch Fleckas. Appreciate the support, Joey. That's the other thing I'm going to be doing, man. I got to get some man on the street stuff out there. Florida is going to be so important, so freaking important for 2020. If Trump loses Florida, even though in theory, like if you just look at it on paper, like if you look at how crazy the Democrats are and how radical they are, you would think, okay, Trump should win all 50 states. Based on how crazy the left is, their policies don't even make sense. Nothing adds up. You would think Trump should be able to win all 50 states. So if he lost Florida, it'd be fine because he could win another random blue state that he wouldn't win before. But we don't know how this election is going to play out. We can really only go off of traditional, well, not traditional, but the previous patterns of elections. So Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, those are going to be important swing states. So I'm going to be all up and down this state whenever there's any kind of rally, protest, event for Trump or for the Democrats. I'm going to be there trying to cover it. You guys have seen, I've done a few man on the street videos. I got a microphone and all that stuff now. It's just a matter of finding the time to go. And now I have all this time, I can actually go. So I'm counting on you guys to keep me informed if you see anything going on around the state, because I can't keep up with everything. And sometimes I miss events and rallies. There was something in St. Pete like 2 weeks ago that I could have went to or could have gone to, but I didn't know about it. Tell me about it. Email me. Let me know. And I'll be there. Let me see some of these comments. Up here in Nashville, I will be at the Democratic debate. Is that where the next one is, in Nashville? See, I would love to go there. And see, I have friends in Nashville. I could actually crash somewhere and not have to worry about it. I just need to get the flight to go. I think it'd probably be too long of a drive. But see, I want to be out there talking to people and then wearing hat like this, you know, that it really brings truth to light. It really can hopefully, when I meet people and they see me with this hat, like I've told you guys 100 times, why I wear the MAGA hat, at least half the reason why I wear it is because it exposes the crazies. And for the people that aren't crazy, it just gives them this cognitive dissonance. Hopefully it triggers an internal dialogue where they're actually thinking about stuff like, wait a minute, I was totally prejudiced. I had this little racist undertone in my ideology. I'm serious. I've red pilled some people. I won't say red pill. Let's say truth pilled some people just by wearing the hat, just minding my own business. All of a sudden, somebody stops me and talks to me for 20 minutes. I've made videos about this before, especially when I was doing deliveries. I would see people, I would forget that I'm actually wearing the hat. And then next thing I know, I'm in a conversation. Most people give me compliments. Other people will try to say, what about this? What about that? And then I could say, okay, well, this has been exposed. This is a lie. Do some research. And then I turn them into subscribers. The next thing you know, they're sharing with other people and other people get brought along. That's how the message of truth expands, not by digging in and saying, oh, I just align with nothing but conservatives and Republicans. We're going to own the libs. It's like, first of all, it's not even, first of all, you're not really going to reach people by doing that. And secondly, that would make you a hypocrite if you don't call out the wrong and the hypocrisy of the right, because it is there. It just takes a little bit of maturity to see it. And actually, not even maturity, that's the wrong word. You have to look at it, you know, with clear vision. And that's what I think this whole situation with Turning Point in DC did for me. I leveled up. I'm not just looking for talking points. Like, oh yeah, Democrats are the real racists, Republicans freed the slaves. Yeah, all of that's true. But let's not prop them up like they're not part of the problem, because they definitely are. They're against the president. They're look how many Republicans are against the president. Look how many Republicans and neocons support the war. Where have Republicans been all this time? When are they going to hold hearings on Ilhan Omar? You know, why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they focused on the corruption of the left? Why aren't they proactive instead of reactive? Why did they let the far left get so far left without challenging them? Not until Trump did anybody even pretend to have a spine. You see what I'm saying? Like, why is socialism going to be on the ballot in 2020? How did we get there? Insane Hermit, Democrats are the real racists to white people. I just think they're the real racists, period. They are the real racists. I mean, I won't say they're the real racists. They're the most racist. I think there's just racist people. If you get down to it, a lot of people share that ideology, but there's racist people on both sides of the political aisle. There's people who are just racist. They have hate in their heart. And you can't just say, well, they have hate in their heart because they vote this way, because they want low taxes. They're racist. That doesn't compute. Trump and the internet are acts of God. That's probably true. You should go on the Quite Frankly podcast. I don't know what that is. Satan has been trying to take over our country. Yes, he has. And, you know, I'm not the biggest like Bible thumping Christian out there. I am a Christian, but I'm not going to like just be some preacher, because I'm not a preacher. But you don't even have to be religious to see what's right and wrong, what's good and evil. Do you really have to be part of a religion to see that there's some clear evil happening in our country? How else could you describe stuff like Drag Queen Story Hour, or I don't know, all the crazy stuff that they're teaching kids and what they're doing to kids? And after saying that, I bet YouTube will demonetize this stream. See, it's all a gamble. I never know what's going to be demonetized, what's going to get views. Thoughts on Elizabeth Warren deleting her ancestry video? I think it's damage control. I think the woman is a complete fraud, but I'm happy that she is doing this in the open. That's great. I'm happy that she's being transparent. Her fakeness is so transparent. She's sloppy. I mean, the hypocrisy, man. Like, this woman literally pretended to be a Native American to advance her career, but at the same time, she'll talk about white privilege and how white people must do this and that, but she's been the beneficiary. All the while making it seem like, oh, it's so hard for minorities in this country. Then why are you trying to be a minority? Why did you lie about your pregnancy? And it's ridiculous. It's a joke, man. How can anybody look at the Democrats and say, I love what they're talking about. I love what they stand for? I mean, it's clown world. None of their policies make any sense, whether you're talking about Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke, Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg. They're all just virtue signaling. They're just going for whatever the most radical left thing is. If they catch wind of it, they have to appease it. They have to. They don't say, oh, no, I stand against it, because as soon as they do, they get consumed by that ideology. There's no real principles. It's just, I want power, so I'm going to abandon any morality, any principles, and I'm just going to say, yes, I stand with you. Yes, transgendered men should get taxpayer-funded abortions. That's what Julian Castro said. It doesn't make any sense. Elizabeth Warren, though, her platform is trash. How can you support? None of it makes sense. It doesn't add up. Okay. Medicare for all, free childcare, free health care, cancel student loan debt, and decriminalize border crossings. How does that work? How does that work? We're going to tax the top 1/10 of 1%. We're going to tax the wealthy. Okay, that's unconstitutional. How's that going to work anyway? You know, it's like none of those things add up, and nobody asks those questions at the debate. They just ask, how are you going to pay for Medicare for all? They need to ask, how are you going to pay for all of these things, cancel student loan debt, everything else? How's that going to work? And you're decriminalizing border crossings. It's just fake, man. Anybody should be able to see through the fakeness. Complete fakeness. We need common folks in the office and for term limits. Term limits return to the regular jobs. Yeah, imagine if these politicians had term limits. They wouldn't need to focus on, they wouldn't be able to focus on retaining power. They have a limited number of years to make their legacy, but they're going to probably be more focused on serving the people who elected them, as opposed to how can I just finesse my voters to keep them voting for me? How can I work with other institutions to keep them dumbed down and make them think that someone else is holding them back and it's really me that's holding them back? Also, I can stay in power. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. I finally got that quote right. It's not like that hard, but I've tried to say it before and I just butchered it. But think about someone like a Maxine Waters, who's been in power forever. She's the literal definition of why we need term limits. She's got nothing accomplished. She's just she's just a mouth breather. She doesn't say anything intelligent. She's incited violence. She's let her district down. She goes and says the same thing every time she's up for re-election, and she gets reelected. And she's in such a blue district that she has no challengers. The only person who could really challenge her would have to come from the left. But there's no Republicans challenging over there. I know Omar Navarro did, and he got slaughtered. Yeah, the incentive right now is for politicians to stay in office, not to serve the people. Nobody should get elected to public office thinking, I can make this a career. We need fresh perspective. You got to replenish. You need youth. You need younger people in. You shouldn't be able to serve all the way up until your deathbed, because chances are you're putting your own interests first. It's the low IQ voters in her district. I mean, it is, but you got to dig deeper. Like, how did that happen? How did they get to that point? Somebody's pulling the wool over their eyes. Slowly, people will wake up, especially in the information age. In the age of this much information, ignorance is a choice. What else happened this week? Okay. What else did I miss on that was big? So many people covered the NBA thing. The communist NBA bending the knee, LeBron James, James Harden. I mean, that's kind of beating a dead horse. So many people have given a take on it. So I can't really say anything new about it other than I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. They always are money driven. Money and agenda driven, not principles. It's fake. They just expose themselves as hypocrites and not genuine. They just further validate what people have been saying about them for years. And it's not just the NBA, it's Hollywood. They're controlled by China. China is really, really making its influence felt in this country. It's crazy. Polar opposite ideology, antithetical to freedom. And they have influence in our government, in our entertainment, in our media. Ridiculous. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up. I just wanted to loosen up, talk about certain things, let you guys know I have not forgotten about you. I will be doing more videos. I'll get into a rhythm. You'll see a lot of things happen with this channel that have been a long time coming. But now that I do this full time, now that I'm 100% viewer funded, it's just a great time. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm too blessed to be stressed. I will not be making any more videos about Turning Point or anything else. I'm going to get back to kind of business as usual. But again, you guys can email me if you know of any events anywhere in the state or anywhere in the region, really. If there's a Trump rally, if there's a Dem candidate, they're holding some kind of event, let me know. I'll go out there. I'll try to confront them. I'll try to interview them. I'll talk to liberals. I'll talk to leftists, if that's even possible. I'll expose leftists. I'll talk to liberals. And we'll see what we can do to save the country. But Lord knows, I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part because if the Democrats get their way, if this country becomes socialist, then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now, whether it's talking politics, trying to make money on YouTube, or if I had a cooking channel. They don't want independence and people who are independent from the government. They want people totally dependent on the government. That's how they justify their position. So I'm really standing up for everybody that wants to see themselves and wants to be independent. People who see themselves as financially independent. There's no other way around it than to stand up for freedom. freedom to choose. Like, where else in the world can you just decide, I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to go do this, and I can say this about the government, I can do that, there's no better global position to be in than the United States, and that's just a fact. Let me look at some of these comments. Who is Edward? Who is that? I can't even pronounce your last name. One more thing I want to mention before I go. This is very important. So I said this last time in my live stream. I did a live stream maybe 2 weeks ago, and I used some profanity. Now, you guys know I do use a little profanity here and there, but it's more like it just slips. I'm not a Jericho Green where I purposely just use profanity. It slips. And some people were like, no profanity. I don't like profanity. Some people unsubscribed because I used like 3 words in that live stream. And I'm like, okay, you know, so if you unsubscribe from my channel because I use profanity, does that also mean that you won't be voting for Trump because you just can't stand profanity? Trump uses profanity. So which is it? Which is it? Are you against profanity all the way, or you just don't like people on YouTube using it? You'll slide, you'll let the president use it, but not me. That's what I want to know. Yeah, who's Edward? Is he being a troll? I trust the moderators to do what they need to do, but don't police the chat if somebody is using profanity. Like if they just happen to use a word, don't do that. But if somebody's not contributing, if somebody's just being a hater, that's what I got the moderators for. Love JG, but yeah, he uses blue language. Doesn't bother me. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Did Trump make the right decision about pulling out of Syria? I mean, I know I said I was going to be done with this live stream, but I'm going to keep going. If you guys stay engaged, I'll keep going. I think he did, but I'm also going to give the disclaimer that I don't know all of the nuances of what's going on in the Middle East, and I'm not supposed to because I don't live over there. We need to stop meddling in other countries' affairs, period. So yeah, it was a long time coming. Shouldn't we have pulled out of Syria a long time ago? How long have we been over there? Countries need to start defending themselves. So I think it's a long time coming. We needed to do that. So that's just my hot take on it. We don't need to have troops all over the world. We don't need to be the world police. Again, going back to Trump being anti-establishment, the foreign policy establishment that both the left and the right just let happen, regardless if they're Republicans, conservatives, liberals, they've been all about it. Trump is bringing troops home. I mean, he needs to do a lot more, but I don't have a problem with it. And the fact that the media is going hard trying to sell us on the idea that we need to stay in Syria is all the more reason why I'm happy that he pulled troops out. If the media is against it, I'm for it. Anything that the media criticizes Trump for must be a good thing. It must be an America first thing. Like, seriously, they have been against him for everything. Even if it makes 100% sense, they will go against it. They'll make narratives, they'll spin stories, they'll find a way to critique it, even if it means they lie. So that's just the way I see it. And even people like Rand Paul. Rand Paul called out the war caucus, all the Republicans who are just so pro-war. Those are the people that need to be voted out. Rand Paul stands against that. He wants troops home. Tulsi Gabbard, even though she's on the left, who cares? She has the right take on bringing troops home from Syria. Anybody that's anti-war is a friend of me. Jamie said, did I see the Project Veritas stuff? Yes, I did see the Project Veritas stuff. And honestly, I didn't learn anything new. It just confirmed what I already knew, right? Everybody, not everybody, but most people who see what's going on in the media are not surprised that CNN 99.99% of their coverage is anti-Trump. And of course, it's coming from the top. The only thing that surprised me, honestly, was what's the guy's name? Jeff Zucker. What he said about Fox News. That Fox News and their messaging is deeply embedded in American society. And that's the real problem. I really thought that he wouldn't say anything about Fox News because there's the conspiracy that all news, left or right, they all funnel up to the same thing, which I do still think that that's mostly true. But I was just surprised they got him on tape saying something about Fox News. I didn't think he would say anything because they're all kind of in bed together, right? What else, guys? I actually do need to wrap up because it gets so hot in this room. I have to keep the door shut because the dog will come in here and it gets weird when he's in here because he gets all in my face. So I'll catch you guys later. Appreciate you watching. I'll be back soon. I promise you that. I will be back soon. I just had to do a big live stream and just say a bunch of stuff, give you my take on some things, let you know that I'm still here. So God bless you guys. I'll catch you in the next stream. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media accounts. Follow me on Twitter. I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter because it's hard to grow on Twitter. So find me on Twitter. Follow me there because that's the other thing. I'm going to be doing more tweets, more Instagram posts, and of course, follow me on Facebook. That's where I post pretty regularly. And I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Later.